listeners from different parts of the world, this interview would have been on a live stream, but network seems to be fluctuating at this moment. We're still talking about the events, the recent events happening in Nigeria, which is not palatable. And I have with me another special guest that I will be speaking with concerning this. He's a youth, and he's going to be sharing his own side of the story and what he thinks is happening. I have with me Abayomi Rotimi Mighty, Ambassador Abayomi Rotimi Mighty. Nice to have you.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Recent times, NSAS. It seems the youth are actually clamoring for something else apart from NSAS. Or a lot of young folks do not really understand what this NSAS protest and agitation is all about. What does this NSAS portend, or what does it mean to you as a person, as a young generation, as a Sorosoke generation? Let me put it out.
Yeah, well, to start with, I think that the NSAS is a result of what people like myself and a few other young leaders have been doing over the past 24 years after all. I'm a young person, I'm 35, but I have 24 years experience in youth work. And for more than 10 years, or 15 years, I've been shouting into the ears of young people to become politically active, to become aware of what's going on in the society. And I think there's been so much distraction on the part of the youth over the years, using entertainment, comedy, and all manner of all those distractions, while the government, especially people in government, because I like to use the word people in government, because the government will still remain the government. The people in government are taking advantage of the fact that a lot of young people in the country are not interested in the political process, to just loot money and just do anyhow. And as a result of the system not doing the right thing, so it has opened doors for a lot of mishaps. The NSAS is a cumulative anger of all the young persons for various reasons. That's just how I see it. There are so many young persons that are so hungry about so many things. One of such is graduating and not getting employment. Another is creating a business idea and not getting support. Another is the fact that there is no enabling environment for an average young person to work very hard. So there's a lot. We can go on and on and on to list all manner of terrible things that have been happening in this country, and we've been bearing it. But this is the first time in the history of the 21st century young people, which I am proud to be a leader of, that we are saying no more. Enough is truly enough. So I see it more as enough is truly enough, protest. And I think it's a good thing for the country, and it will take us to the next level of deliverance from corruption.
You mentioned something that is key. You mentioned the aspect that the political elites are taking the young folks for granted. They've taken over, and they've been doing whatever they like, believing that the younger generation do not have interest in politics. So that's why they are misbehaving. Now, let's talk about these occurrences in the last few days. Recently, a few days ago, military guys opened fire. That's where I call it, opened fire, live ammunition on armed protesters. It's very questionable, very sad, and sincerely, I would like to you, I could not sleep for 24 hours. I couldn't sleep. I tried, I couldn't sleep. I cried. I've never cried like that before. I cried, I wept like a baby, because the pictures and the stories coming in is so sad. It's so sad. And now it seems this has turned out to become a social revolution. Would you agree that this is a social revolution? And what do you think is going to be the next step?
Yeah, well, to start with, I think the shooting at Lekki Tollgate is unfortunate. I condemn it with all that I have inside of me. And I put it this way, I said, any activist that did not cry that night is not a real activist. I also wept overnight. I couldn't sleep. I was on call to various young leaders across the world. I got calls from the United States, several calls from the US, and I made several calls as well. All just to get a direction to see if we can think of something and see how we can, not get this country into war, because it was more at the brink of war. The response. But you see, the response from young persons has been amazing. I like the fact that despite the fact that we got young persons, attacked by military men, supposedly, I still am happy that young persons still came out and said, we are not the looters and we are not the thugs, neither are we those committing arson. We are still going to stay outside and the protest will go on. For me, that's a victory over oppression. That's a sign that oppression can never stop us from doing that which we want. So for me, I think this social revolution is awesome. It will have become something else. It's just that the other element of young persons, unfortunately, they are also youth, and we cannot but call them youth. A 45, 50-year-old, 60-year-old man and woman can never step out to go and loot. They are young persons. So the same people that are going out there to commit arson, to kill people, to maim, and to loot are actually young people as well. So technically, they are still part of our generation. It's still as a result of the decayed educational system, and of course, the socialization process is porous. This is the first time that I'm seeing clearly that the socialization process of Nigerian society is porous. There is nothing that actually train up the child the way it should go. This is not the first time we are going to be, experiencing such revolution, in Africa or in other parts of the world. In 2017, I think I was in Italy when the thing broke out, that Zimbabweans wanted Robert Mugabe out. He was out, and there was actually, it didn't degenerate into anything worse. People came out and they continued making noise, and in less than 2 weeks, he was out of power. They were able to remove somebody who had been in power for more than 40 years out of power. So I am of the opinion that we have done well in still insisting that the social revolution will go on and it will be non-violent. However, we still have to also understand that the other elements who are actually causing chaos are still young people. So any which way, they are still part of our generation, and we must find a way to manage that. And I think that is where leadership, that is where leadership comes in, which I believe we are going to provide as time goes by.
All right, without giving credence to the looting and thuggery and all this mayhem caused by so-called elements, which we or the society or these political elites who have refused to do the right things over the years have created. They are the ones that have created this monster from a society of not doing things right and doing the right things. What do you think?
Absolutely, there is no doubt about that. There is a direct connection between how bad Nigerian government has been over the years and what we are seeing today. If most of Nigerian youth have gone to school, if they are gainfully employed, let me ask you a simple question. All the youth that went to burn down the banks and all that, would they have burned down the banks if they were one of the staff working in the banks? It would not have happened. So there is no doubt about it. We don't need any prophet to tell us that there is a direct connection between how bad the government is and what we are seeing today. A lot of the young persons are so hungry, they do not have skills, they don't have lives. And we have to find a way of ensuring that their lives are given back to them. Majority of Nigerian youth that we have today do not have skills. Even some who actually graduated from university do not have skills. It's a huge problem. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Even some of them are still, some of them do not even know what we are protesting for, but they are angry and they are going everywhere attacking people. So for me, it's a direct connection to the fact that we've got bad government. And it's not just that the government is bad. The government is so negligent. Nigerian government, so far in the last, few years, is so annoyingly negligent. They don't seem to care. You see some level of bad roads, some federal roads, and you're like, what's going on here? Do we have a government in this country? You get to some states, you see all manner of terrible roads, and there are a lot of people living there, and you'll be wondering what has happened, as if there is no government. So these people are vicious, they are wicked. They have built a system that do not even recognize the needs of the people. And we need to actually anchor on that. The reason I will borrow from what Burna Boy said, he said, we are the monsters you made. So shut your mouth and stop complaining about young people looting and stop complaining about young people burning places. What do you expect them to do? They don't have any other ideas of how to go about it. They just want to express their displeasure and anger because they don't even have a future, because the system is built in such a way that even we that are so learned, we are so skilled, with a lot of people, young people who've got so much to give, do not even have the opportunities to explore their talents and develop themselves. So what happens to those who do not have such? So that's the problem. So definitely, I agree with you that the monsters created are direct, a repercussion or direct effect or direct result of the very bad, diminutive, debilitating, appalling, nefarious, obnoxious, and unscrupulous government we have been having in this country.
You are really angry. Anyway, I've tried severally to speak with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I called the wife, that's Senator Rotimi Tinubu, earlier today, just to reach out and hear their views. Someone picked the call and for Rotimi Tinubu and told me that she's not around, she's in Abuja, and if I can get her number. Anyway, I'll keep trying because I want to also hear from Senator Rotimi Tinubu and know our opinion. However, since you belong to this generation of the Sorosoke, as it were, what is your own definition of restructuring? This will be my final question for you, and then we'll sign it off. What would be your What would be your definition of restructuring? Is it restructuring of our entire system? Is it restructuring of the constitution, or is it restructuring along regional lines? What to or you as a mouthpiece for this young generation? What, in your own opinion, is the general feeling of restructuring among the youth status?
Well, I'm going to tell you this, my brother. To start with, the concept of restructuring was developed by the people that are not the majority of this generation. This country needs overhauling restructuring, no doubt about that. However, my own definition of restructuring begins when a proper system is created for the transition of power from these old hands into the hands of young people, the younger generation. And when I mean the younger generation, I'm talking of 45 years and below. Anybody above 45 should please go and pack well. They should go and pack well. Between 18 and 40, we are the largest population in this country, and we deserve to be respected, because it is not a bad idea that one of us should lead us in a generation where we are the largest of the population. So my own understanding of restructuring should first begin with getting young people into the structure, and we've gotten to a point where if we are not given the opportunity, we will take it. One of the rappers says that I wasn't born with silver spoon, but I'm ready to take one. One of my quotations says I wasn't born with silver spoon, but I created one. So if they give us the opportunity to go over and get involved in the process, we will. But if they do not, we will also using the existing structure, no matter how porous or how systemically built for it to be unfair it is, we will take advantage of it and still win whatever elections we are going to win and get access to power. But then let me talk about the general restructuring concept. My own understanding of restructuring is that we should actually build a system where the regions, or shall I say the states, I am more for the states. I think the states should be allowed to control their resources with strong ties, with strong influence from the traditional rulers. That is why I said that the concept of restructuring was developed by those who are not our generation. So for me, we are still going to look into that concept of restructuring and really define it according to what we want for our generation. Some of these people are very strong politicians, and they are looking at it, they are able to break it and push the regional government back to the original master plan of 1950-something towards the 1960, whatever, the western, eastern, and northern region. They think that by the time that is done, all of them will go back to their region and begin to pull strength or strings. Now, that's not going to happen in our own generation. We are still going to look into it, and we'll look at a system that works for us. The American system, for instance, is an excellent one, where the state government are allowed to have control over the resources. And of course, Americans are also allowed to have control over their resources. If you buy a land and there is fuel under it, there is a way that there's an agreement between you and the government. They don't necessarily take the land away from you, but there is a way you can actually. So for my own understanding is my generation will start to look into that. But then, even if they do this restructuring, whatever they are doing, it's a good one for us. But trust me, when we get to power, we'll look into it and improve upon it, because every generation is given the opportunity to better the lots of the people according to the opportunities of that generation. And the last time I checked, every transitional generation has always been doing, the latter has always been doing better than the former. It's just a shame that Nigeria has remained static. We are technically still in 1960 in 2020, and that is sad.
All right, I've been speaking with Ambassador Abayomi Rotimi Mighty. He's a youth ambassador. And,
the convener of the Agenda 2023.
The convener of the Agenda 2023, one of the very prominent and powerful forum where issues pertaining to Nigeria and its progress, development, and economic empowerment is being discussed mightily, and contains a lot of political juggernauts in that forum. Thank you so much, Abayomi Rotimi Mighty. I am Demola Sanyawo.
Thank you, sir.
And on this note, I say thank you, and until I meet you again, it's bye for now.